This centuries, centuries. I mean, this is a well-oiled machine, and unfortunately, what's happened is with white supremacy, it's created for generations to come purposely. Minneapolis, I mean, that's just one city for an example, creating the, I believe they're called land covenants. I mean, this is the type of stuff cities have been doing for decades, where they would put on land deeds specifically that it was only allowed to have home ownership by people that are Caucasian.
Right.
And that creates decades, generations to come, to have a setback that people in the white community will never understand.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I feel for people in these areas that are getting the brunt of the fires and all of that going on. That's got to be very scary to live near that. Mm-hmm. But I also don't condone it either, because something's got to change. Like, this system, this isn't okay. The way that this country is run and has been run. And so I really hope that something positive comes from it. I hope. I mean, I've seen in the past when we've had some uprisings in the country, unfortunately, it happens, and then everyone goes about their life, and then nothing changes. So,
right.
One thing I ask a lot of white people to challenge themselves on is why all of a sudden now are you showing up to march? Like, where has your support been?
Right.
And why would it take this amount of publicity, polarizing the black community with things that have been going on forever? Why now? Why is that outraging you now? But you chose to look the other way for so long.
Right. Brother Jrich, you want to go in on that real quick before I take the next caller?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like, I have mixed feelings about the riot, but I don't condone it, because I can't tell someone how to deal with their emotions. But I do remember that, and you should remember, and you probably remember as well, the same thing went on in Minnesota not too long ago. You know what I mean? And you think that when all of this rioting and everything went on, and they're lashing out because of police brutality, what changed in Minnesota? You know what I mean? Over these years, over the last time that they had riots or what have you, what is it that they've changed within their own community, within their own police force? I mean, because when it really comes down to it, with all like the marching, all the rioting and everything else, if the power structure within the police department does not change, then nothing changes. And we can see that from, I think it was 5 years ago, up until this point, it's been the same thing. And when people were mad and they were marching back then, and now they're looking to burn like this. And I'm not, and you know what? I don't even believe that most of the people that are out there that really want change are the ones that are starting fires, are the ones that are breaking into stores. You have a lot of optimism. You have a lot of people that are just taking advantage of the situation. But at the same time, you know what I mean? When are the citizens looking at, and it goes back to what I said before, you vote your sheriff in. You vote these people into place or what have you. What is taking place? You know what I mean? That you have started to look at the laws and the way the police department is structured. That says, you know what, we need to do an overhaul from head to toe. Same way that guy's brother-in-law was looking out to make sure nobody came and interrupted them murdering this man. You know what I mean? The ones that do it without a camera there are going to look out for them then. They're not going to step forward and be like, hey, man, you know, officer such and such, you know what I mean, use unnecessary force. Officer this did this. Officer such and such planted drugs on this person. Officer. And until you get that type of people in the police, I find it absolutely amazing that you put on a uniform, you grab your gun and your badge, and you run out to like the poorest of people, and you want to over police them, but you turn a blind eye to the exact same crimes being committed by the person that rides next to you in a car.
Well, wow. I'm going to take another call, Magenta. Thank you again for calling. Did you want to close out? Any close out thoughts? Oh, any thoughts on Dojo Cat? Any thoughts on Dojo Cat?
No, sir. Not on that.
Okay. But no, just go on and close out for me. That's right.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm just trying to, you know, do the best I can to be an ally for the community and listen and work on just changing those thought patterns. And you know, the mind is a powerful thing. So if you can change that thought pattern of racism that gets instilled into white people, you know, that can change for the future. And just learning to listen to your people in the community and not telling you all how to go about change and activism.
All right. Well, I thank you for calling. You shook me up. I didn't know that was you today. You know, we got to get you back on here as well. We got to get you back on here as well.
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Have a good one. I appreciate you. Peace.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, brother Jrich, I'm gonna take another call. 5323. You are now live. 5323. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Daryl Edwards, and I'm calling from Baltimore. I know Brother Rich. Hold on, I see his phone going dead. I didn't recognize it right off. I was just thinking on 3 points rather, with what was being said earlier about economics. Mm-hmm. And you have to keep in mind about Reconstruction, how that came about and took the entrepreneur into being the worker. And then the second is, during that time, was going from being black to being Afro-American. So all this plays an important part in the way that they are structuring today's society with the children and the educational system. So basically, Reconstruction started shortly after King, when they took you in to want to become a worker as opposed to an owner. So if you look at the financial aspect of it, then you have to look at it all the way around the board. If you don't have ownership, you have nothing. Land is power. Don't believe paper money is power. Land is power. Economic unity is power. So I agree with Jrich on that, and that was a valid point to be made. I think that with what he said also about the riots going on, I see, as he see with that, there's a lot of opportunistic creatures that they're using it for an excuse just to be destructive. However, I believe that the vast majority of them believe that it's time. And as I'm watching CNN now, it's to make a point, and I have to be honest with when I say this, no people have ever gained their independence through diplomacy. 3 countries of color that I can recall only that gained their independence. The first was Ghana, second was Haiti, and third was Cuba. Now, if I got the orders a little out, but I believe that's the right order. And all of them came through a revolutionary stance. Toussaint Louverture, Fidel, and Che, and I forget the exact leader that they had gone. And so you have to take all this in mind when you're educating your own people. They have to know how to do things. You can't just, sit them out there because they'll be sitting ducks if they're not properly educated for an independent nation to work towards.
Let me ask you something, brother Daryl. Because you made some valid points out there.
Yes,
how do we go about getting our people unified and trained? I mean, that is something that I think that is a huge issue in our community. It's hard for people to speak on things when they're not educated on it. So how do we go about unifying them and getting them trained?
Well, first to start with platforms like this. You got to get them interested in seeing themselves in the platform and issue to want to take part. That's first, because the system that we were educated through, and I can speak personally that, I was a pretty decent student at one time, but I didn't see myself in the curriculum. I can remember in 11th grade reading about Hannibal, but they just said a man of color. They didn't say he was a black man, And then as I got older and started self-educating and know that Hannibal was a man that took 12 elephants and beat up Rome, which was the great empire. So, we have to be able to get these guys. And like Rich was saying, they have different clothing lines and things like that. You gotta reach out to the mindset of them, things to be, that's fashionable to them. Because, I think it was him saying something, or I know I have said it because I work with the public. They'll get up early in the morning and stand in line for Jordans, but won't get up and go and look for a job or pick up a book to try to start or find out where to start at for entrepreneurship. And so these are the issues that you would really have to plant the seeds that you got to believe that you can do as well. And that's not going to be easy because, as Jrich said, the deck is definitely stacked. He forgot one place, though. When he said Oklahoma, I was right with him, so I put it in my notes while I was listening. Don't forget Rosewood in Florida. Please, matter of fact, they made a movie. Don't forget Rosewood, because them people were very well to do African-American or affluential African-American folks also, which means they kept most of their money within that community.
Right.
So it just wasn't about that lie alone. It was about seeing the economic growth of that little community in Florida, which got all them people killed and the town itself burnt to the ground. Now, of course, Hollywood and there's no disrespect to none of the callers, because you do have good Americans that would do good things, but of course, John Voight, that romanticized that particular role in the movie. But them people were pretty much, if you're going to look into it, well-to-do all by themselves.
You want to go in there? Go in, Jrich.
Brother Durham.
Yes,
I know you brought up Rosewood, but from our time growing up, I'll give you Forestville. I'll give you District Heights.
Oh yeah, okay. Yes, Wintergreen District Heights. Specifically, yes, sir.
The PG County, still houses, the largest concentration of black millionaires in the country, and yet they're still seen as, a ghetto. You talk about PG County is still seen as a ghetto. When you go back and it goes into what you were saying about the mentality, what's being taught. These kids are being taught that, or you'll never be anything, No, what are you talking about? You are growing up in a community of millionaires, of black millionaires that live in your community. You have resources. You can go and tap those resources and find out how do I get to this point? The biggest problem is that is through what see and what's advertised and what's put in front of us. Jordans are seen much more important than a diploma. Jordans is seen much more important than getting a degree. Jordans are seen much more important than learning a trade. You know what I mean? Who beat who on Madden is much more important, my man. Who beat who on Madden?
Absolutely.
UK, you know what I mean? that right there, you know what I mean, takes precedent over somebody graduating from college, over someone actually trying to start their own business. You know, we have to start, you know what I mean? Listen, man, we at some point we have to start putting these games away. We have to start putting like this old fashioned away and start to say, you know what, we can create our own we can create our own reality if we just change the way that we think. And like you said, man, it starts, man, with the children, man, and the imagery that they see and what's taught to them. If you teach a child, you know what I mean, the importance of Jordan, and you don't teach them the importance of saving money, then what is it they're going to grow up to inspire to get? They're going to grow up to inspire to get a pair of shoes, not to save their money. I just had a long conversation me and my son Saturday. We're riding in the car and we had a long conversation. It goes back to like what the previous caller said. I shouldn't have to sit in the car and teach my son, you know what I mean? If this happens, then you have to do this, or if this happens, you have to do this, and you have to learn how to do this, you have to learn how to do this, all because this is the way society deals with you. Because white parents aren't sitting down with their kids telling them, you know what I mean? If the police pull you over, keep your hands on the wheel. You know what I mean? Don't reach for anything.
Yes, sir. We just had that today.
Teach our kids that. They don't have to teach their kids that. You know, we have to teach our kids, listen, man, there's something more important than Jordans, because everybody else is getting this influence on our children that the biggest thing is what you look like in your fashion. Do you got on a polo shirt? Do you got on some Azar? Do you got on this? You know what I mean? It's education and building a power structure is not embedded in our children.
Right.
That's right.
And if you'll just let me add one last little thing, and that started again with the Reconstruction period. And see, then I have to take it back to the plantation, which is this. You know, now I'm a very light brother, you know that, but it started with the light skin against the dark skin, the good hair, curly hair against the nappy hair. And so when they did Reconstruction, they said, well, that's not going to hold up no more. So what we need to do now in order to break up that structure is we got to pit the man against the woman, the children against the parents. And so, see, this is why you have the chaos that you have now with the children that don't respect nobody, because they want it to where they want them to fear the people in uniform, and you give them the parental right to do whatever. And this is why, as I watch this in New York, D.C., Baltimore, and it's getting out of hand now, I gotta say, if this is what it takes to get the attention to say, well, look, stop killing. You know, you already got, you know, somebody that's already subdued, and then they got some other stuff on social media with this one who took the baton, jumped on him, took the police cruiser, but no bullets fired, no nothing. So if this is what it takes, even with the bad actors, as they say, then I'm for that. But again, with Reconstruction, they did this, and so it's really up to the men, the brothers, to really unify in brotherly love and start being as one, to bring the message of education to themselves, like you say, because, you know, they only understand flashy things. The man that's riding around with the big car with the 20-inch rims, that with the Jordans, and got a pocket full of money. So they would never know, as Killer Mike say, that the pocket full of money is spent, but your investments are reinvest, you know, if you got an apartment building or so forth and so on. So that's my last point on that.
I appreciate you for calling, Brother Daryl. And please, you got to call in our next show. We appreciate you being a part of the discussion.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Have a great one. Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but it kills me, man. We see so many videos, man, of police, of people of different colors, man, that can fight with the police, put hands on the police, and not one shot is ever fired, man. No shots are ever fired. When and I agree. Well, I mean, yes, man. You know what I mean? I was all for it, man. And, man, if it takes burning down the city to get somebody's attention, they burn down the city. But don't come back and tell me that, you know what I mean, the same people that live in Section 8 or HUD housing turned around on the first night of looting and marching, that they burned down their own house with all this stuff in it, with their neighbors and everything else. They burned down their own apartment building. I don't believe that. That's absolute nonsense. Who in their right mind is like, man, I'm tired of police brutality, I'm gonna burn my house down? No. Absolutely no one. So they are agents, you know what I mean, that are that are in the midst of these people. They're walking with you, but they're not with you. You know what I mean? They're there, they're beside you, but they're not a part of you. They're not with you. And I think at some point, man, we have to start even with let these rides go and get back and go back home, man. Go back to our safety net. Not necessarily our safety net, but not get caught up into what it is, because they're trying to take things to a whole nother level. And we have to make sure that we're not being a part of that, because at the end of the day, all of them are going to go back to the cities and go back to their towns that they live in. They don't live where you live. They're going to go back to their home, nice and safe, and you're going to be the you know what I mean? You're going to be the face of destruction. You're going to be the face of destruction, man. And it's just going to be the same old narrative. You know, black people, they ride, they tear up their own thing, they tear up their. Ain't nobody burning their own house down, man. I don't believe that for 1 minute. Not 1 minute.
Are you looking at the screen, brother?
Huh?
You looking at the screen?
I've looked over there. My wife, are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on. I think we might have got kicked out of Facebook. We like all over the place. Yeah. Africa TV, Twitch TV, like 3 different YouTube spots. So we definitely getting it in. But brother
Facebook thing, man.
Yeah. But we're still up on Facebook. We are still up on Facebook. That's for sure. Yeah, man, this has been a powerful show, brother Jrich. Anything we missed you want to get into real quick? Because we had a phenomenal week with a lot of things going on that was just crazy. You know what I mean? And it's just been crazy. It's been a crazy few days, man. Let me ask you this. What is your thoughts on the Joe Biden saying we're not black if we don't vote for him? If you don't vote for Joe Biden, you're not black.
I think that it was a joke and very poor taste. That I will admit that I do think that he was joking. I'll give him that. I think that he was joking. Do I think that it's a time for him to be joking around and everything? Absolutely, positively not. It wasn't accepted. It wasn't, you know what I mean? It didn't go the way he thought it would go. And for Joe Biden to again, when Minnesota. You know what I mean? When they rioted before he was in office, he was vice president. When Mike Brown got shot down in the middle of the street, you know what I mean, by the police. When Trayvon Martin got killed, you know what I mean? When Sandra Bland was killed. When the other brother, and forgive me, I'm horrible with names, got choked out in New York saying the same old thing. I can't breathe. When the brother down in South Carolina got shot in the back because he thought he was going to get locked up over riding without a registration, and the police officer shot him in the back 6 times and got off. Joe Biden was vice president, and as vice president, him and Obama, you know what I mean, passed the bill to give military arms to the police. And at the same time, they stood in front of a camera and they said that, we're gonna have to look at police brutality, you know what I mean, one case at a time. If they actually took the time to look at police brutality one case at a time, our federal courts should be loaded. Their docket should be loaded every single day from the time they open to the time they close to this day, investigating police brutality. But it isn't. It isn't. These people are not brought to. They're not brought to. The charges are not brought against them. The Washington Post ran a story showing you statistics. Broke down the statistics of every officer that was involved in a shooting of an unarmed citizen. I'm not talking about blacks. I'm talking about every unarmed citizen. 99% of those police officers got off. Either they never got charged with the crime, the judge threw it out, the jury found him not guilty, the grand jury refused to bring charges, and out of all, I think it was like 400 or 500 cases, you know, and out of all of them, only two people actually got sentenced. One of them got his sentence reduced. So now we're talking about hundreds of police officers that actually, you know what I mean, shot an unarmed citizen. To this day, only one of them is sitting in prison. Think about that. And then you go out and then you come back and you tell me that burning down a building that can be replaced, that you talking about looting, breaking the windows of a car that can be replaced. How can you replace the lives of those people that got killed? You can't. You can replace tires on a car. You can replace the windows. You can replace all the stuff that was in Target and every other store. You can replace things. You cannot replace people. So when you sit back and you say like, oh, I can't believe that they're tearing this up, you should be asking yourself, I can't believe why the officers are continuing to kill people. If you're not asking yourself that question, then you're probably part of the problem. Because things can be replaced. People cannot.
Yeah, man, you've been flowing today, brother Jrich. You was flowing. This has been a powerful show. Before we close out on one, we got some other shows coming up. I want you to talk about the next show we're going to be doing. Introduce the brother and let him know, because it's going to be powerful. You know, we're not messing around with him in 2020 at the Real Truth the Power family. So talk about the next show that we'll be doing. Who will we be interviewing?
We're going on live with a brother from On Point Arms, black gun owner. Very rare that you'll find like a gun owner. He owns his own business, owns his own shop, ships all over the U.S. He's going to come on and he's going to talk to us about NAGA, the National African American Gun Rights Association. He's going to talk about your rights, how you can go about obtaining arms, why you should go about obtaining arms, how to get trained, and everything else. It's very powerful, especially in this time of day, man, where we're dying. And like the Reverend said, man, you know what I mean? We're fighting more than one enemy. You know what I mean? We're fighting multiple enemies, man, on the same front, man. We're fighting against people that look just like us. You know, we're fighting against, you know what I mean, police. We're fighting against the system, man, you know. And I think it's very important for this brother to come on and give people, man, let people know their rights, man, about gun ownership. Let the people know their rights about protecting themselves. Let them know that there is an organization, the NRA, that very rarely ever, you never hear the NRA will take your money and let you be a member. But when something happens, you know what I mean, to us, you know, you don't hear from the NRA. You don't hear from them at all. You know, Gun Rights of America. You know, they'll send you emails and next thing you know what I mean, to donate to their cause. You know what I mean, all about the 2A rights. But when it's a police officer involved shooting down a black person, you don't hear from them. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? But there is, you know what I mean, a gun rights association for us, by us. And he's going to give us a lot of powerful information. He's going to give us powerful information about, like, black gun manufacturing. You don't have to go and get a Glock. You know what I mean? You can go and get a firearm made by a black person. You know what I mean? And again, supporting our own community. I want to shout out to my man Ernest Shaw, or whatever, you know. That's been trying to get over me doing all of this. And I want to say another powerful thing from my man Neri out there in LA. He made a very powerful point when Brother Darrell was on. He said that it's much easier for us to consume than it is for us to educate. That's powerful, man, and that's something that we should really think about. It's much easier to be a consumer than it is to be an educator, and we have to make that flip, man. We have to make that change.
Man, I'm glad you said that, because we always talk about it, Real Truth and Power, being poised, being a producer, a owner, investor, saver, and an entrepreneur. And that POIS, producer, owner, investor, saver, entrepreneur. It doesn't say anything about spending. You know, don't get me wrong. You work hard, you play hard. You know, I work hard. You know, I get fresh shoes. I get my shirts and things of that nature. And I'm learning, as we all are learning, to save, to own, to buy something that's meaningful, that will build generational wealth, something I can leave my kids besides a business, land, stuff like that. So that's a powerful statement, Brother Jrich. That's a powerful statement, man. And before we go, just make sure everything is good. Yep, it looks like we took care of everything. On the phone lines. I guess we was busy tonight. No more Last Dance. It's Sunday. So, you know, I guess nobody really wanted to mess with Lance Armstrong, even though I thought that 30-30 was decent. But let's go ahead and let me have you. let me have you close out, brother Jrich, so we can get ready for tomorrow's show.
Hey man, I think that we've made our message very clear, man, out here in the streets, man, into like all like these cities. Before, man, they send in, you know what I mean? I was really hurt, man, to be honest with you, man. I was really hurt, and I was going through some things earlier today, man, when I looked, and it brought me almost to tears, man, to look and see countries, people in other countries standing outside U.S. embassies, chanting Black Lives Matter. And we have a president that says when they start looting, start shooting. That hurts, man. That hurts a lot. You know, that you have other people that value your life, you know what I mean, much more than the person that was elected to look out for your life. You have a president that says, you know what I mean, I'm going to send in the army to go in, you know what I mean, and take care of the situation if you can't. You tell me and anybody that want to leave it on like the message board and call in, whatever, man. You show me one country where the leader has brought in the army and used that army against its own people in a positive manner. Show me one. You know what I mean? It hasn't been. When you start talking about you're mad because Twitter said that you lied, or they didn't even say you lied. They just said check the facts. You know what I mean? What he said. And you start talking about government censorship on private media. When you start censoring the media, when you start talking about bringing the military in to control citizens, when you start talking about restricting money to certain areas, when you're talking about mass incarceration, when you're putting people in concentration camps that are built for 100 people and you have 400 people there, people think that, you know what I mean, that just because you are in this country illegally that you should be able to be treated like an animal. These concentration camps are going on today, right now as we speak. People forget that that, you know, as I voted for Obama, and I'll admit it, I voted for Obama, but Obama is not, you know what I mean, is not blameless. His hands, you know what I mean, his hands are dirty in this. He funded money. He gave the police these military weapons. Not only that, he went into North Africa and opened up free slave trade that is going on in Libya to this day. There are atrocities that are going across this planet to this day, and it all comes back to America. America needs to wake up. And it's not, and to be honest with you, most of the time it's not even the minorities that need to wake up. It's the people that walk around sleepwalking, thinking that these things do not happen. They happen right here in this country as they do worldwide. And to see people standing outside of Berlin chanting Black Lives Matter, and you have a president talking about shoot them down in the street. You have New York police force that's running people over with their cars. You have in Minnesota plainclothes cops setting fires to stores and starting, you know what I mean, starting riots. You have people down in Atlanta. You have people down in Houston. You have people in LA, all over the country reporting like, hey, man, these are police officers out here, man, doing this stuff, you know, and they're taking pictures of them. They're putting them out there. Something is wrong with the system. And if people are protesting police brutality, and Sean King has stated that this is probably one of the bloodiest, deadliest days of police brutality in this country, you know, because you have a governor, you have a mayor in New York that says, hey, man, y'all have the right to do whatever it is y'all need to do. Absolutely crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Anytime you are willing to bring the military in to kill your own people, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. Instead of just looking at the system and saying there's something about the system that needs to change.
Yeah, man. Like you say, Trump is going gangster. That's a real gangster. That's a real gangster. He don't go for his own, he going for the other. And he's a bully at it. Right. So, you know, he's a bully at it. But Jrich, go ahead.
Where was the tear gas and the rubber bullets, you know what I mean, when you had people marching in the streets with live ammunition? because they were tired of being in the house. Mm-hmm. Where was it then? When they were yelling in the police face, I didn't see the cops, taking people's cell phones and throwing them. I didn't see them pushing them back with, through the barricade. I didn't see them running them over with the cars. I didn't see any of this. When they were marching through the streets with live ammunition in their guns and they're up in the Capitol, I didn't see all of that. But I did see peaceful movements when people were just standing there, yelling and expressing their own feelings. I seen tear gas. I seen them get tear gas. I seen them get shot by rubber bullets. People, communities that weren't protesting, and them being shot at by police officers. I seen that.
Right.
And if you don't understand that, then you don't. Then you really need to sit down and ask yourself what type of country you live in.
Yeah, man. Well, you've been flowing, brother Jrich. I'm gonna close out, man. Just end with give the people the peace, and because we got another powerful one coming up, so I'm gonna close out.
Peace, brother.
All right.
Stay.
Peace and blessings. That was brother Jrich, and man, we had another powerful show. I want to thank everybody for calling up and staying on hold. We might have had a little bit of technical difficulties, but as usual, we made it through. Again, you guys got to stay tuned tomorrow because we have another powerful show. If we don't air it tomorrow, it's going to air definitely Wednesday. Again, we're talking to someone who is heavy in the guns. He's going to be giving us the laws and the rules so we can protect ourselves if possible and talk about some of the things of that nature. So, man, again, another powerful show. I want to say thank you, peace and blessings, Hotep. And we are out of here. Let me get the theme music going so I can close out.
Real truth and power, health, wealth, knowledge of self, uplifting the community. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
We out of here.
Real truth and power, health, wealth, knowledge of self, uplifting the community. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Real truth and power, health, wealth, knowledge of self, uplifting the community. Let's talk about it.